What vehicle do you buy when you want to go camping, carry all your family, their luggage, handle the rough stuff, and drive amazingly on road? Yes, there is only one vehicle that is extremely popular in the outdoor community. The car I'm talking about is the 2024 Subaru Outback Wilderness. The variant is the Wilderness. It's an off-road trim, so you can see it's got a bit of a lifted suspension, it's got a bit more cladding, it's got all-terrain tires, and us being us, we had to bring this in the Wilderness. Big thank you to Subaru Canada for the Parks Canada Pass so we could enjoy this vehicle in its natural terrain. Now let's explore the vehicle. Front end of the Outback, again, it has the traditional Subaru family look. Even the 2024 Crosstrek has now gotten this updates with the DRLs in the headlight and the LEDs, which look really good, and these LEDs actually move real time with your steering input, which looks really cool once you see it in person. Since this is the Wilderness, it's got a lot of extra cladding, and since it's lifted, the approach angle is much better than, say, another variant of the Outback, which is more road focused. You've got some gold sort of yellow elements on the bumper as well, just to break the monotony of the cladding, and I think it looks really good. I really like this paint shade as well, and you've got a matte thick strip of black sticker on the bonnet as well, which it looks really good. Personally, it just brings about a very off-road, very rugged theme, and I think Subaru has really stuck to that and they've played it out really well. The grille is very nice, and again, overall the proportions are very, very good. When you come to the side, you can see that the cladding smoothly integrates into the wheel arches. The cladding is thicker on this Wilderness variant than it would have been in other variants, and the cladding goes all through the side, through the rear, and in fact the wheel arches, once you focus on it, is very squarish. It's not like a curved wheel arch found in other cars, which is pretty nice. It accommodates these wheels. You've got some matte black wheels which look really good, and you've got some Yokohama Geolander all-terrains, which is again exclusive only for this Wilderness variant. You do have some roof rails as well, which look really good. Again, small touches like this here and there really asserts itself as like an off-road ready rugged car. I mean, it's not a proper 4x4, so you can't obviously take it into like the proper rough slush terrain, but for what it's got, it's probably one of the most capable all-wheel drive systems out there. Again, the front and side looks really good, and when you come to the side, you do realize that it's a very, very long vehicle. In fact, it's much bigger than its smaller sibling, the Forester. The rear of the Outback, again, it has the typical Subaru family look, which is no bad thing, to be honest. The taillights very much resemble to the 2024 Impreza and Crosstrek. It's a bit more smoked for this Wilderness variant, and since this is the Wilderness, again, the cladding just carries on. You can see the whole bumper is literally just one piece of cladding, but it's so smoothly integrated into the sides, so you can see the wheel arch directly is integrated into the bumper. You do have the same copper yellow some elements. Again, I think those are the tow hooks, which again looks so good, and it breaks the monotony so well. You've got some basic badging, which is again in matte black for this Wilderness variant, and you do have a Wilderness badge which is also on each side of the doors, just to break the monotony. It looks so good. You have a mild spoiler with some matte black elements, and yeah, that's about it. I wish the rear wiper could have been better integrated, because you know, cars nowadays have it integrated with the spoiler, which just removes that unnecessary element of the window. Again, it's not a deal breaker. I know this is just nitpicking, but it's just a very simple, rugged, simplistic, classy look, which Subaru has been doing since a lot of years, and this one is no different. One major USP that the Outback has over its younger siblings like the Forester, Crosstrek, WRX, you name it, and that is the magic trick inside here. The boot is hilariously big. Honestly, this is where the true proportions of the Outback, when you see it from the side profile, shines. I only have a few backpacks, and that's all I carry usually for shoots like these, but as you can see, I can still sit inside fully. I can put a full-size adult inside with my bags, and still there would be space left over. That's how immensely practical the Outback is, and I can see why this car is a top choice for campers. Now inside, the Outback, and as you can see, the same Subaru theme carries inside. You've got the new screen, which all new Subarus have. It started last year in the WRX. Now it's been passed on to the Outback, the Crosstrek, and the new Impreza as well. It's a vertical screen, and it does have all the gadgets and gizmos you could ever need. It has wireless CarPlay, all the settings you can adjust, the fan speed is through the screen, the temperature buttons are physical, and the volume knob is physical, but everything else is touch. The touch response most of the time works really well. Sometimes it is laggy and it can get annoying, especially when you're driving and you need to turn off your heated seats, which has been because now it's getting a little cold in Canada now, or the fan speed. But otherwise it's strictly okay. Not a deal breaker for me, because when you're driving you don't really use it or look at it too much. The steering is the 3-spoke from, again, the Subaru family. 3-spoke looks very good. You've got some paddle shifters, which is really funny because this is a CVT, so what's the use of paddle shifters on a CVT? Anyways, you've got the adaptive cruise control, which is called eyesight in Subaru terms, and you've got the volume buttons and everything. It just feels very nice. It's very functional. You do have, again, the gear lever, which has the same copper outline, which is available on the steering as well. Again, you can't complain. There's nothing to complain because everything is just as where you want it to be. You've got physical buttons for the electronic parking brake, the front camera, rear camera, and it's very simple and it's just works really well. You've got a very nice analog speedometer with a small MID screen. Again, it has the necessary information. It's not the fanciest out there. I know other brands have way more color, way more digitalization of the gauges. This is still fine. It's just, we used to have cars like this, so I don't understand why this would be a problem now. You do have very big cup holders, which is very nice. You do have some storage inside here as well, which is very nice. You have a wireless charger, a USB-A, a USB-C, and an aux port. I actually don't know when the last time I saw an aux port, but again, it's old school in this car, but it has all the modern amenities. You do have a small sunroof as well, and the seats are very nice. It's very comfortable. You've got some adjustments. The cushioning is very soft and it's very wide, so even for wider people like me, you're very well comfortable. You don't feel like you're being cramped into the seat. Again, what can I say? It's a very simple outlook at what an interior should be, but it's still got all the modern amenities and it still looks good and feels very good. It feels very tightly built, so every time you knock on the plastics and everything, it feels very well built, and which is what this car should be, right? It's all a rugged theme, so nothing in here feels like it will break the moment you take this car off the road. Now in the rear of the Outback, as you can see, space is really not an issue. You do know that it's a very long vehicle from outside, so you can definitely expect space inside and you won't be disappointed. This seat is slightly more behind than what I would usually have, and you can see I have enough place to tuck in my feet. I have a lot of headroom and knee room is not an issue as well. Under-thigh support is decent, and again, it's comfort wise, it's really not an issue as well because the suspension is so good, so you hardly feel anything inside the car. One downside is that it's a little too dark, especially the front glasses are not as tinted. This has the privacy glass option in the back, so it gets really dark because of all the black interiors, and there is no panoramic sunroof, so it can get really dark. This is probably the only light source in the back here. That's the only way there's light inside here. Otherwise, yeah, but it's very functional. You do have AC vents, you do have heated seats for both passengers, and you do have a type A and a type C USB port. You do have pretty big cup holders in the doors as well, and you do have something like this, which is pretty unique. I've found it to be like the first time I've ever seen this in any car. So you have small pockets in the front of the pocket, and then you have one bigger pocket, so you have sort of like a twin pocket setup in both seats, so you can put something like keys in the smaller one and maybe magazines or newspaper in the bigger one. Just more stuff you can take for your camping trip, which is what this car is really built for, right? I'm now behind the wheel of the 2024 Outback Wilderness, so let's see how this crossover drives. Let's get the numbers out of the way first. This has the 2.4 liter Boxer turbo engine, produces 260 horsepower, mated to a CVT, and it has symmetrical all-wheel drive, which is trademark Subaru. The WRX has an option of a manual. This is only with the CVT and with paddle shifters, which is really funny. Why would you have paddle shifters on a CVT? Just to give you that feel of manually shifting gears. But let's slot the gear lever into drive and we set off. And instantly the CVT works so well. Honestly, people have a very bad notion when it comes to CVT. but this CVT is one of the best I've actually ever seen, ever driven in any car. Yes, there is rubber band effect, obviously that's how CVTs work, but it's so well contained and it doesn't feel like it's straining the engine in any way, which is seriously a top-notch job by Subaru. I don't know how they do it. I mean, you can play with the paddles and put it into manual mode, but you could just see the RPM going up. It's not really changing any gears. That's not how CVTs work. But it's funny that they have put this for driver involvement, so kudos to Subaru for that. The ride is sublime. I am on a very smooth tarmac right now, but I have driven this car on some very bad surfaces as well. The ride is impeccable. Like honestly, there is a shortage of words to describe how good the ride is. In urban situations, on expansion joints, potholes, nothing. You feel nothing. The seat comfort, the softness, the cushioning is top notch, so nothing gets filtered in. The suspension the travel is longer than what you find on a regular Outback. So again, the wheels, the bump stays still there. Nothing gets filtered into the body, which is superb suspension tuning by Subaru. The driving position is definitely very car-like, and you do sit quite high up, so you do have a very clear visibility of the bonnet, but otherwise you can hardly tell. I just went over a bump. Honestly, you don't feel anything. Sometimes you don't even need to brake for anything, and that can be quite addictive, especially a person like me who I keep on switching cars. This can do it all, and what if I get into a sports car next? If I do that, oh, it's gonna break the car, but no, it's not even breaking a sweat in the Outback. The steering feel is really good. Honestly, this is one of the few crossovers you can actually drive like a car. This has all-terrain tires, so definitely it has lesser grip on the road compared to the road-going variants of the Outback, because those have proper highway terrain tires. But it's still honestly a great joy in the twisties. The steering feel is really good, so much weight. It's very direct, and you can really pinpoint the front wheels exactly how you want it in the corner. Honestly, it's a great joy to drive this crossover. One thing that's not that good is the fuel economy, and I've been averaging about 12.5 to 13 liters per 100 in the city, which is honestly very high. It's on the higher side, and well, Subaru Boxers are never known to be efficient, so I guess if you are going for an Outback, it's something you have to expect irrespective. I'm on a very patchy road, but honestly I don't feel anything at all. But yeah, it's so fun, honestly. Oof. On the highways, the fuel economy does come down. It does become better. You can expect 9.5 liters per 100, but it's not segment in leading numbers. But again, this car does everything else that other cars in the segment can't do, and I can totally see why you would want this car. It's so rugged, and it can literally do anything you ask it of. In conclusion then, the 2024 Subaru Outback Wilderness. Well, I've been living with this car for a week, and I did not expect to like it as much as I have now that I have to return it in a few hours. It drives really well, it looks pretty good, and since this is the Wilderness, it's got a lot of cladding, and you can definitely handle all this rough stuff with very much ease. I can totally see why this car is so popular among the people who love to live in the outdoors. You can put a tent on the rooftop, you can climb obstacles, you can drive on dirt, and you can drive it on urban situations, which I have been doing most of. It cruises so well on the highways. Even though this has all-terrain tires, the road noise is very minimal. It's so comfortable, the seats are good, it takes all the luggage, all your family so easily. The CVT gearbox can be a hit or miss for people. I personally like it a lot because it's one of the better CVTs available in the market, and at around $45,000 for this Wilderness trip, which is almost one of the most top variants available for the Outback, I think it's crazy value if you ask me, considering what car prices are now in the market. Honestly, if I were in the market for a crossover, this could be one of my final contenders, and I did not expect to say that when I got this car at the beginning of the week. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.